Let's start with our top story. This hour, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency has reportedly been updating the timestamps on old press releases in order to game Google search results to create the appearance of a wave of mass deportations. The Guardian reports that four-day operation in Colorado, it happened in 2010. The 123 people targeted in New Orleans, that was February of last year. Wisconsin, September 2018. There are thousands of examples of this throughout all 50 states. ICE press releases that have reached the first page of Google search results, making it seem like enforcement actions just happened, when in actuality, they occurred months or years ago. All of the archived ICE press releases soaring to the top of Google search results were marked with the same timestamp and read updated January 24th, 2025. ICE did not respond to the paper's request for comment. However, The Guardian notes that since reaching out, some of the press releases have reverted back to their original dates on Google search. According to the Department of Homeland Security, in the first 2 weeks of President Trump's second term, nearly 5,700 illegal immigrants had been deported. Newsweek reports that if the administration continues deportations at that pace, they would be on track to deport half the number removed during Biden's last full fiscal year in 2024. This validating everything that you have been saying, Joe, to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been saying it just because, first of all, the number of people deported by Barack Obama, exceptionally high. He was attacked as a deporter-in-chief, but as Rahm Emanuel says, it was actually, it certainly did not hurt him in the polls at all. But Jonathan Lemire, we also find ourselves at a far different time right now where, and we've talked about this before, first of all, deporting illegal immigrants, extraordinarily expensive. It's an expensive process. So you've got the expenses of it with a $36 trillion debt, with big spending plans ahead, big tax cuts ahead. So you've got that problem and the pressure that's going to eventually come from bonds traders because our debt and our deficits are going to be too high. Number two, it's inflationary. You talk to Donald Trump supporters on Wall Street. You talk to, factories across Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, wherever you go. You talk to small businesses. You talk to family-owned restaurants. They will tell you that mass deportation will make things far more inflationary, make the cost of everything go up because the cost of workers will go up. I'm not saying this is good. I'm not saying this is bad. What I'm doing is explaining to our viewers why it's not as easy to wave a magic wand and do this. That's the second part of it. And the third part is, again, it's just the numbers are like Barack Obama's numbers are going to be extraordinarily difficult for anybody to reach for all of these reasons. Inflation, because your business community doesn't want him doing mass deportations. And again, because it's so expensive to carry out the process in 2025.
Yeah, and let's also remind the viewers, of course, that those border crossings were already plummeting in the last year of President Biden's term. Yes, they had certainly gone up. And the White House, in retrospect, the Biden White House recognized that that was a mistake on a couple levels, including politically. But they really did come down in those last few months. And of course, there was also the bipartisan immigration bill that there was Republican support until there wasn't, because Donald Trump wanted to preserve it as a campaign issue. But you're right. And if this is what Trump is doing, the numbers here, first of all, would be so massive, and it would be so expensive and logistically difficult. We're also seeing some local jurisdictions really try to push back, saying they won't cooperate with all of this. We are seeing there would be the trickle-down effect for the economy. Business leaders already warning the White House, for now, privately. Later, those warnings may go public, suggesting that this could really impact the nation's economy, Elise. But this is a signature campaign promise. This is the number one thing Donald Trump said he was going to do To this point, it's mostly been limited to pretty showy raids. But if it ends up getting bigger, if the numbers do grow, and those who are deported are not just those here illegally who also have committed violent offenses, but rather large numbers of just people whose only crime is that they did cross the border illegally, we're entering a new area there where there could be a lot of pushback.
Well, no, I mean, if he starts deporting hardworking men and women, who's separating them from their American-born children, if you see this really have an effect on the economy that starts to upset the business community, yes, he's going to get significant pushback. I think we're a ways from that, though. I think right now he's having the shock and awe version, showy displays of trying to look like he's doing something, and that could be enough to placate his base.
You know, to Joe's point, and it's a critical point, if you put 100 illegals on a C-5A and fly them from wherever in this country to Venezuela, that tab is going to be at a minimum $5 to $7 million. What do you think, Joe?
Well, no, exactly. And again, that's the real challenge for the administration. It's important, John Heilman, to remember, though, this was what Donald Trump ran on. It also is an extremely popular position and has been for not only a large swath of Republicans, but a lot of Democrats as well, a lot of independents who saw those images of the first 2.5 years of the Biden administration and were horrified by what they were seeing. Just an absolute chaos at the southern border. And for people that are going, oh, well, wait a second now, this is just right-wing propaganda. No. Look over the last 2 elections, what has happened with voters. These border districts that have gone from almost being straight blue to overwhelmingly red, and that shows you that people, even on the border, Hispanics on the border, have said enough is enough. So you do have that political pull for him to look like he is doing something on this in a significant way because he talked about mass deportations. But at the same time, it's a very heavy lift.
It's a very heavy lift. And if you do it at the scale that Trump has talked about in his most florid moments, it would create all kinds of potentially politically devastating images that would prompt the kind of backlash that we saw during the family separation crisis in the first term. In the period after the election, I kept hearing from people who are misinformation and disinformation specialists who would say, pay attention to what is going to happen here, not trying to diminish the potential humanitarian harms that could happen in a big wave of deportation, but look out for the ways in which this administration will try to game social media and other media platforms to make it look like they are doing more than they are doing. They predicted this months ago and said one problem is that they go too far. Another problem is that they bullshit the country about what they're actually doing.
What's happening.
And this is a first sign of it. This working the Google system to make it look like there's more going on. There's really going on. I wish I could say that it was my prediction. It was not. But some of these very smart misinformation people predicted this and pointed at the fact that it's another place in which Elon Musk and his influence over that platform can be complicit in messing with reality in a way that benefits Donald Trump politically. Where he gets the win of, hey, it looks like we're being tough, but they're really not actually causing that much damage or spending as much money as they might have to really fulfill the promises.
Great point.